Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Now in this video, I am super duper excited to talk about the Nintendo Switch 2. We all knew this was coming. We've all known for a while. We know about all the leaked blueprints and all the prototype stuff and all the, trademark stuff and whatever. So we all knew this was coming. We actually got the heads up from Nintendo a while ago that there was going to be a direct that was specific to the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, I was not able to watch it in real time, unfortunately, as it was happening during a weekday and I was working, but I did have a chance to sort of watch some of the highlights, and I wanted to take a moment to talk about what I saw and what I heard, what I'm excited for. At the end of this video, I'm going to tell you whether we are planning to invest in a Switch 2. I do own a Nintendo Switch. I co-parent the Switch with my husband. It is our Nintendo Switch. We went through the whole dramatic phase of trying to get our hands on a Nintendo Switch. It was very early on when it first came out, and it was super hard to get one. He had to drive, I think, 30 kilometers just to get this unit. So we've had the same Switch for eons now, and we've probably played it to death. We love it tons. So we cannot recommend this console enough. There are a couple of things that would make it better, and some of the things that I was hoping to hear more about in this direct. One of the big things I would love is a better capturing system. Now, I know there is a limitation just because of the space that you have for this console. I do appreciate that you can capture up to 30 seconds of gameplay and that you can export it and do whatever you want with it, but I definitely am pro PlayStation 5 just because the capture capability is a lot better than something like this. Of course, one of the great things about the Switch is that this is super portable, although I will say we don't really take it with us on a day-to-day basis. I do appreciate that this is a lot lighter than a Steam Deck, but ultimately we don't take this with us day-to-day. It's often at home in its dock, or we will pull it out. I like to pull it out to play any sort of Tetris game or Pokemon Puzzle League. By the way, if you don't know what Pokemon Puzzle League is, I will link it for you down here or in the cards somewhere. It is one of my favorite games ever, and I am probably single-handedly keeping that game alive on the online database for Nintendo. So I do like the Switch. In fact, I probably could have gone another year before seeing a Switch 2, but I totally get it. Nintendo wants to make their money and they want to have some refreshments and updates. So totally respect it, totally understand it. Let's go ahead, get right into it, and I'm gonna just do a bit of a walkthrough and some commentary on what I saw and my thoughts, and at the end of this, like I said, we'll see whether we're gonna go ahead and purchase a Switch 2. Can we just discuss how cute this little Yoshi burger restaurant spot is? And this is kind of giving me Calamari Desert, obviously not confirmed, but very cool. So when I initially saw this and I saw the characters, I'm like, everybody I love is there, but where are all the new characters? So at this point, I was like, I want some new characters, or I want some new costumes or something. So I spoke too soon, obviously, and I'll speak to that once we see some of the new outfits and characters. Loving all of this. I'm so glad we're finally getting a new Mario Kart game and that we're not bunking it onto an old game and doing an expansion pack. It's just ridiculous. The cow. I am so excited for the Moo Moo Meadows cow, and I am totally going to play that cow. Also love the increasing in size thing and all that stuff with the rails. Super awesome. This burger thing is really funny. There's a new outfit, so I'm so excited for those. Love everything that Peach is wearing. She and Rosalina, I find, are the most fashionable, so you know it's gonna be good. Mario Kart World, which when I saw this, I was like, this is what Mario Kart Tour should initially have been. What can you do?
brand new entry in the Mario Kart series is launching exclusively on the Nintendo Switch 2 system. Welcome to this vast world. Kart races are held throughout various regions that span the globe.
Kind of gather that from what we'd seen in the opening video.
The atmosphere will change.
So I didn't notice that, but they've got weather conditions now, which my husband pointed out when we were watching this, and I'm super excited for that too. I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
This Mario Kart game, you can go off the racetrack and drive virtually everywhere in this
Also
world.
love that you can drive virtually everywhere. I think that's really, really fun to have that capability. Here are the courses that this showed in the direct. So Mario Bros. Circuit, which is a classic, although it does look like it's been changed a little bit. Crown City, I don't remember. So if you remember seeing that before, drop it in the comments. Whistletop Summit also sounds new, but correct me if I'm wrong. Drop it in the comments. I do not recall DK Spaceport, so that to me looks new. And then we have Desert Hills, Shy Guy Bazaar. Shy Guy Bazaar is actually one of my favorite courses, along with Coconut Mall and Maple Treeway, Wario Stadium, and Airship Fortress. I remember Wario Stadium and I remember Airship Fortress. If you don't remember, like, Wario Stadium is such a callback on the N64. You could totally, like, jump over at the beginning. There was a glitch and you could just hit the bumper buttons to, like, jump over the first barrier and blow everyone out of the water with your time, which was great. And then here we have DK Pass, Starview Peak. I think that's new. Sky High Sunday and Wario Shipyard. I think that is also new. I don't recall a Wario Shipyard, but I know that DK Pass is an older one, and I actually don't mind that course. It's a lot of fun. And then lastly, we have Koopa Troopa Beach, which is a classic. They've clearly given it some kind of makeover here. Faraway Oasis looks new to me. I do not recall this one. Crown City and Peach Stadium. Those are the ones to round it out. I'm excited for some of those courses, and I'm happy to see that we have some courses that are obviously coming back or they've been revamped. So that'll be fun to see what they're like in terms of playability and whatnot. I love this idea of just driving wherever you want. And this photo thing is really cute too. It's so cute. Oh, that must be the safari one with the elephant legs. I'm really excited for this. This is, when I saw this, I was like, this is really swaying me. So when I first saw that title drop, I was like, we need to get a Switch 2 ASAP. I don't think I mentioned it earlier, but the Switch 2 is going to be available in June. I think it's June 5th. So we don't have to wait all the way to Christmas to get one technically. But yeah, I was very much like team let's buy it day one launch versus let's wait. So at this point in the direct, I was like, we're buying one. And then they showed some of this other stuff, which it's the new features of the Switch. I'm over the C button and we haven't even started with it. It's like, I don't know. I'm indifferent to the C button. I do a lot of gaming by myself. So this to me is just sort of like, eh. So I won't spend too much time on the C button thing, but the C button basically allows you to chat with other people and it allows you to connect with them so that you're gaming together. So the whole idea was that the whole thing was alone together. And then at the end, the whole thing was like all together. So you can game with your friends. Again, this is not a feature that interests me, so I'm actually going to move forward. I'm also not at all interested in the Nintendo camera, even though there are some games where it would make sense to have the Nintendo Switch camera or the Switch 2 camera. I get it, but for me right now, I'm just not interested. And so this kind of actually swayed me back, being like, I don't know if I want to buy it right away on launch. It was like I was 60-40 at this point, 60% wanting to buy it. But when I had seen the Mario Kart World launch, I was like 95% of the way there.
Nintendo Switch 2 system itself. Please take a look.
I really could care less about how thick or thin it is. I will say that it is a lot easier to carry this around. I have held a Steam Deck in my hands before and it's not too bad. It was my brother-in-law's Steam Deck and it's neat. Definitely some really high-powered gaming there, but for me, as somebody who casually plays with a Switch or something that is portable like this, I mean, I do most of my gaming at home in the comfort of my living room or on the computer. I'm indifferent to how heavy this thing is. I will say that sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to hold. I play a lot of like puzzle games on the Switch, so Pokemon Puzzle League is a huge one. Puyo Puyo Tetris is another one. I just want to be able to hold this unit, this console, and so I'm hoping that whatever these changes are, I am hoping, I have really small hands, so I'm hoping that it makes it easier to grip the console when it's got the Joy-Con locked in. Great, I can see it better. Again, great. We can see things better. We can experience it visually better. Wonderful. So what I learned about this, so later on, and I won't go too far into it, but what I learned about this, which is really cool, is that they use steel in the controllers and it like works with the magnets and essentially it's like an electromagnet. So I was a little worried about that, but when they explained it later on in the direct, I was like, oh, that's actually a really cool feature and that's very, very smart, and again speaks to the you know, the innovation of Nintendo. And I feel like it was the same, the Switch was very much a game changer and this just feels like it's in that same sort of line. So I'm very impressed with the way they came up with how the Joy-Con attaches to the body or to the screen, which is, yeah, it's cool. You do still have the lock button in the back though, or the release button, pardon me. So right now it's just like a little pin size button, or not pin size, but at least a smaller size button. Then you push it and you pull up. So this is a lot more convenient. I'm glad they made those buttons bigger too. Same thing with the left and right sticks. I'm really happy about that. I love this feature. I think this is fantastic. The first thing I thought about was Mario Party, but they had a really cool game that they're coming out with that's basically like a wheelchair basketball game that uses that mouse function. So I'm really excited to play that game. We have surround sound at home, but okay, nice feature. Glad that you've made the audio better. In the initial video that I skipped where they were showing the C button demo, I was very impressed to see that the sort of noise canceling feature had been highlighted. I will say though that it's one of those like I want to see it to believe it kind of things. So I really want to see if it's actually clear. The only downside is I would have to talk to somebody else. And again, I'm typically a solitary Switch gamer, so it will be very interesting to see how great that microphone is. One other thing I really appreciated is with the C button, with that chat, that connecting function, Nintendo's actually offering it for free for about a year, I believe. So if you want to try it, you have the option to try it without having to get the subscription, but you will eventually be required to hop on to a Nintendo subscription. John has one, my husband has one, and quite frankly, it's great. That's actually how we access Pokemon Puzzle League, so that's especially why I love it, and we definitely get our money's worth out of that subscription. I laughed and said, oh, is this Dolby Atmos? Probably not. Very cool. Again, this is a feature I'm indifferent to. Don't typically use the stand function, so. I was very happy to see that there are now 2 USB ports. So if you're not aware, on the current Switch, there's a USB port at the bottom. There's there's USB-C port. So USB port at the bottom, and on this, there will be a USB-C port at the top. I've tried to use the leaning function or the stand function, but then I need to charge the Switch and I have it out of the dock, and I think that's why I've been so irritated by the stand function. So now that we have a USB-C port on the top, you don't have the USB-C cable interfering with the way that the Switch stands. So I think this is a fantastic addition to the unit, and I'm so glad that they included that. Like, how can you not be happy with that? You're going from 32 gigs to 256 gigs, so it's, what is that, 8 times the capacity of what you currently have? Come on. How can you not be happy with that? Again, indifferent, but it's definitely really nice to have. As long as I can play in 1080, I'm happy. Good job with the fan, guys. That's great. So I'm overall pretty happy with the unit, but there was nothing in there that really got me uber excited. I think my expectations going into the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, they were kind of moderate. I wasn't trying to be super high with my expectations. I also was trying not to be too low. I've been really burned, especially by some of the state of plays that recently took place over the last 6 months. And so for me, it's just like, okay, let's like calm our expectations. I will say with the state of play, I'm constantly waiting for a Kingdom Hearts announcement. With the Direct, you know, at least we got the heads up for Nintendo that there was going to be a Switch 2 presentation, and I feel like they delivered. I do feel like overall they delivered. I am so happy that we're seeing the Mario Kart World title. Really, if they had just left it at that, I probably would have said day one, we're buying it right away. Based on everything I've seen and based on all the stuff that's come out and based on what's available and my urge to play some of these games along with the neat little innovative features that are coming out, I actually don't think we're going to be buying this right on launch day. Maybe there are some things that need to still be shared about the Switch 2 that would sway me, but as exciting as some of this stuff is, there just isn't enough here for me to be like, let's go line up and wait and grab ourselves a Switch 2. There were a couple of things I was hoping for that I would see, so I talked a little bit about it at the beginning of the video, but the big thing for me is capture capability. There weren't any references to capture capability. John, my husband, did bring it to my attention though that it wasn't mentioned at all in the Direct, but you do see the capture button as well in some parts of the showcase. So whether that's just something they're not focusing on right now, that's totally plausible. Whether it's still just only 30 seconds or you're able to capture more remains to be seen. And so it is only April, so we do have a couple of months before it launches, and maybe we'll have some more answers around that. Some of the titles, yes, super excited for. So obviously Mario Kart World, I think it's fantastic. Long overdue for a new Mario Kart. Again, a lot of the games I'm not really interested in, and as somebody who has been completely familiar with the Mortal Kombat 1 fiasco of porting the game over to the Switch, I am cautiously optimistic about the final results around actual visual consumption of gameplay. I want to see more gameplay before I actually jump in and like day one buy the consoles. Did the Direct deliver? They did a pretty good job. Am I inclined to buy the Switch right at launch? No. And in fact, I'm probably thinking that we're going to wait until the fall, or it might end up being a Christmas present. In terms of how much the Switch retails for, the number I had been seeing around was in the $400 range, but if you take into account the exchange rate, you're looking at $629.99. Obviously subject to tax and any sort of environmental fees if you're buying in Canada. Pretty pricey. For perspective, I was able to purchase our PlayStation 5 for about $750, and I also got it discounted because I had PC points that I was able to redeem with, and I got some money back. I got a ridiculous amount of money back because I had like a 20 times the points coupon. It's really going to depend on where I can get my hands on a Switch 2. You can pre-order them, so apparently they're going to start accepting pre-orders on April 9th. I just think that's going to be a little bit too much right now. But what do you think? Are you grabbing yourself a Switch right on launch day? Are you getting ready to pre-order it? Are you going to be like hyperventilating on April 9th or whenever it is, like sitting in front of the computer being like, okay, shut up and take my money? I want to know. I really want to know. Let me know in the comments. Otherwise, bye for now.